Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspaces. And this headspace is called Iran is moving different in this war, potentially, if it comes. And Trump may be underestimating his adversary. So before I jump into my headspace, which is called Iran is moving different in this war, if it eventually comes, and Trump has underestimated his adversary, I want to say thank you to all of my listeners who like, share, comment, and engage with my content on YouTube, on X, and on my website. Please do make a donation at denisehedley.com. I'm very partial to 3 Rings and Chips and a Miranda or a bit of Bitcoin. And don't forget to hit the bell notification on the YouTube channel and select all, so you can get all of my uploads as they appear. So this week's news has been dominated by the Andrew Mountbatten arrest and the implications for the monarchy. But while that's happening, which is a huge story, something else is happening, which is potentially even more significant than that because of the impact it's going to potentially have on all of us. So at the moment, what's happening is America has amassed, not America, President Trump, because President Trump hasn't got any oversight for this course of action. He's acting like an emperor in Rome, in Roman times. There's no recourse to international law. The whole exercise is about his whim and those donors who have supported him effectively so that they can have the outcome that they're looking for. And the outcome that they're looking for is a greater Israel. Therefore, they have to annihilate all of Israel's adversaries in the region. Libya, Iraq, Palestine, Lebanon, and Iran is the last one standing. Syria has already gone. So the point is expanding the reach of Israel in the Middle East. And that's the point of the exercise. And they have been dragged yet again into another conflict that the American people don't appear to be that interested in engaging in, but they certainly will be once their infrastructure gets hit, which is going to happen if this is going to take place, and their young people will be coming home, passed away because they've been unalived in the conflict. That's when I think more people are going to start to engage in the exercise. So that's what's happened. Now, if you remember what the precursor to this is, anyone who's looking at this in isolation, I'm sorry, you're being exceptionally myopic. This is a long-term exercise in controlling the resources of that region with Iran. Don't forget that Mossadegh was overthrown. He was a democratically elected leader. He was overthrown because he had the temerity to want to nationalize the oil reserves for the people of Iran. But this is not a project which is just, something that's happened in the last 10 or 20 years. So there's been a constant attack on Iran, and their religious leadership has took over effectively when they wanted a change in the style of government, and it's still lamented that during that period women had more rights. All the Western values are put in front of you as a basis for wanting to remove them, when in fact the real issue is money and oil power in the region and that sort of thing. So I just kind of gave a quick context, but this is a situation as you have it at the moment. There is a massive fleet amassing off of the shores of Iran. I think I read today, and I haven't checked it, so maybe someone can, advise on that. I'm sure I saw that Mr. Trump is not very pleased with Mr. Keir Starmer, and he wanted to fly the jet planes which were going to be attacking Iran out of the UK, and Starmer has said no. I think other countries, other Arabian countries in the peninsula are also reluctant for the US to be using the US bases to fly and attack Iran, because basically they'll just be in the line of fire. So you have that situation. You've got Iran also receiving some support from Russia in terms of, I think, weaponry, also from China. They now have access to what's called Beidou. Beidou is the GPS system. GPS is just a trade name, like Hoover is a trade name, but everyone thinks it's a thing. No, it was a brand name, just like GPS is a brand name. They've got their own version, which is Beidou. And what they have done is, because Iran is now not using Western satellite systems, they won't be blinded with radar. They won't be blinded with their ballistic missile ranges and that sort of thing. I'm not pretending I know huge amounts about it, but the point is they do not rely on a Western system to give them that type of information. So this exercise, which is potentially going to take place sooner rather than later, there is a peace negotiation allegedly, but the last time there was a peace negotiation, the Americans did a complete perfidious Albion in the same way that the British are so good at doing that, and they led them to the peace organization, and then they, I think it was agreed to attack Iran. So there isn't this degree of trust between the two parties. I think this is a bit of a media exercise, but in terms of we're both talking, but people are both being sized up. So what I think is taking place now is that everybody is positioning themselves for what potentially could be an attack, because it's very clear is that America is the aggressor here, not America, because it makes it seem like it's all of the people, but it's not. It's the Trump administration and Mr. Trump, because he's acting, like I said, with like Nero. He's just being, it's done on a whim. There's no recourse to anyone apart from the small cabal around you. And what Iran's saying is that we are not going to allow what you did in the 12-day war to take place. We're going to strike key American assets, and they have the capabilities to do that. Don't forget, Iran is a massive country, okay? I think it's like 4 or 5 times the size of the UK. It's got 90 million people. It's highly mountainous. They have a very different mindset because they are very much their culture is based around their religion and their religious beliefs. And for them, martyrdom is a way of them ascending directly into the astral plane. So they don't have the same mindset as Western individuals. So it's a completely different exercise. And I think there's been huge amounts of calculation of what's coming to potentially in this conflict, who's going to be affected by it. And I think what you're going to see is quite a different redistribution of response. Not the response that you saw in the 12-day war. And the key thing, and the reason why I'm trying to bring it home to us, is because Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. And that is where all of the oil and all of the trade comes down. If they block the Strait of Hormuz, what that means for you and me is that no gas and no oil can come in. If they then start to attack the refineries in the Middle East, that's no oil production. It's going to be a particularly cold experience for the West, for the rest of the West. Your electricity and gas prices will soar exponentially because basically it's demand and supply. Supply goes down, the price goes up. That's the reality of what this conflict could basically mean for you and I in our lives, who are not seeing it in the same way, because obviously, we're just ordinary people. But that's what it could potentially mean. No goods are going to pass. You're not going to be able to get things coming into the UK in the same way. And that's going to be affecting everybody. Forget being able to put petrol in your car. Okay, so this is not, while we might be focusing on what's happening with Prince Andrew, this is more impactful. Then you've got the potential for unrest in the Middle East on a huge scale. But the other side of the equation then is other countries getting drawn into the conflict. So to me, this is a massive situation which is brewing, doesn't need to be in this space, of course. But you do have the cabal of leadership. The Epstein class runs these particular spaces, and therefore this is what all the people who are like ordinary people, we're experiencing this. So I think it's important that we understand the magnitude of what's happening and what's being amassed. But this is what I'm saying about Iran. Look how Iran's moving, right? Don't forget, Iran has got hypersonic missiles, people, yeah? Don't forget that. And don't forget, when they struck Israel the last time, you never got any of the pictures because they didn't want people to realize the extent of the damage. And what happened was Iran was pulverizing Israel so badly, Netanyahu called America and said, listen, we can't take them licks there, okay? We can't take them licks. You need to call this thing off. But this is the situation this time around. Hear how Iran's moving. Iran is saying... I'm laughing already. Iran is saying that they're going to release the videos of very senior people in the administration engaging in SA with minors if they're struck. So you can try and do that exercise and keep your people on board, but just see how that works when your people think that you are a collection of essays of minors and you are part of the Epstein class. This is what I'm saying. So it's not just going to be a war in the sense, if it does come, shock and awe, yeah. I think Mr. Trump is hoping he can do 72 hours and then the whole regime's going to be decapitated. I think you'll find that's not going to happen. Once these things start, they don't actually progress in the way you think. So, but the point is, Iran is ready on a number of fronts. They're ready, and they have the capability to do significant damage to Western assets, American assets. They have the capability for the psychological psyop when you see your leaders engaging in activities that they've been denying for a very long time. They've got the capability in terms of the people's psychology. They don't want, they see this as an opportunity to, push back with the real. To push back against Western power and Western influence in their country. So it's not something that, you can talk about the protesters, but let's be frank, a lot of those protesters were agents and they were working on behalf of Western powers. But yes, there were other people who were there legitimately protesting, but that didn't galvanize people for the government to change. So there are a lot of variables in this situation, and I'm hoping, like you're hoping, that it moves to a place where there is some kind of negotiated peace. But if you think about all of the wars that America has been engaged in for so long, they have all been at the behest of Israel. And therefore, this one is the last one on the list. And I doubt the backers who gave Mr. Trump. Don't forget, they're pushing for Trump to have another term, yeah? And they're hoping to use martial law. Therefore, you don't need an election. Don't forget, he is going to get slapped in the midterms, okay? You know what I'm saying? So they're pushing for that, and that's the situation they want. I think I heard a term called designed chaos, and you need designed chaos so that you can move from one political system to another political system. So maybe that's what this is, designed chaos, so that you can move the dial in the Middle East, just like you moved it with Iran, with Libya, with Afghanistan, with Yemen. The list goes on. Actually, Yemen's in Africa, but the list goes on, people. You get the point. Yeah, anyway, God, this has gone on for 11 minutes. So that's my thoughts. I just wanted to put my thoughts out there. What do you think about this situation? Have you been paying attention to what's been going on over there? Did you think about how it could impact on you as an ordinary person? Let me know. Don't be shy. Jump up on the mic. Don't forget, though, do the following things. Click the bell notification, select all, make a donation at denisehedley.com or on my YouTube channel, and come back next week. And most importantly, thank you for your listening ear, and cut.